Here it is, Ozzy's first official ride. Now I did do it bareback and just in a halter. I was super happy here with how he came over to me, and I decided he was relaxed enough that I was just gonna go ahead and climb on. Here I am just going to check and make sure that he's comfortable with me up there. I'm going to check and make sure that I have a left and a right flexion. And he's just backing up here because he's not sure about me being up there. So again, I'm just checking to make sure that I have left and right flexion and I can steer him. Then I'm going to start asking for forward. And this is pretty typical with a colt that they just don't really figure out how to go forward first. So he's just kind of going to the side, going backwards, turning his head. He just doesn't quite figure out what I need him to do yet. And right here, he starts to figure it out. And he walked off so good and quiet. Again, I always just after a few steps make sure I have a stop and the back. That's the first time he's backed for me with me on his back. Was super happy with that. And again, I'm just going to ask him to go forward. And this time, a few steps to the side, but he's going to figure it out pretty quick. I was incredibly happy with how calm and relaxed he stayed through this entire ride. That's not typical of him, but he is becoming a way more centered and focused and relaxed every day. Also, it didn't hurt that yesterday was the first day he went out with the rest of the horses, and I'm not gonna lie, they ran him around all day and he was pretty tired. So, it was a good day for this. It also warmed up today, so it was our perfect chance. Again, we're still figuring out this forward motion, and I'm just asking him to turn each direction and make sure I have steering. I have been absolutely ecstatic with how bendy, flexible, and turny this colt is being out there. That was our only little tiny spook. I don't even know what it was about, but that's the only time he jumped in this ride at all. And I probably rode him for a good 20 minutes. But the rest of the time, he was perfectly happy. You can really tell here that he's settling in and getting more relaxed. His head's going down more level. His ears are coming forward. He's starting to walk straighter, not be so much with his head bent, starting to really settle in, put his head down, and focus on what I'm asking him to do and not look nervous. I thought this was pretty impressive for a first ride. The way he just turned around here pretty tight, and he even sort of wanted to move off my leg, which I was super happy with. And the majority of what I did was just kind of walking some big figure eights and making sure he understood the steering situation and going one direction then the other, just in some nice big relaxed circles. Again, right there, you can see he's still trying to figure it out. He was much better to the right than he was to the left for some reason. Of course, they all have one good way, but he was just a lot more relaxed to the right than he was to the left. And he got to the point where he was relaxed enough that I felt brave enough to ask him for a little bit of a trot. So We did get just a little bit of trotting in, and he got more and more relaxed with it, so I did get to trot in both directions. I even felt relaxed enough that I thought I'd ask him to step over some of these logs that I had sat out and then ask him to trot this direction, which again, he's not as comfortable to the left as to the right, but he trotted really good for me this way for it being the first time. I was super impressed here. He's licking and chewing, and I could even see that from where I was. Super relaxed, even walking over these poles. And I was really happy here with how he came back around and steered for me to go back through them again. He just took everything in stride, which was totally a shock. I mean, it's always a shock, I guess, when you're the one doing the work. I know I've prepared him for this, but compared to where we were a couple weeks ago, it was a big deal. And I just kept walking him around and keeping him really relaxed the whole time. I wanted to make sure that he was okay with me touching him on the butt, kind of moving around a little bit. And again, nothing really seemed to faze him, which is awesome. And as always, I tell him thank you. And at this point, you couldn't wipe that smile off my face.